Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead, where it is a beautiful fall day in late September, and we are thinking about fall and taking an inventory of what our food storage shelves look like to take us through the winter. I'm low on beef stew. We did a video on beef stew in our very first few months 5.5 years ago. The sound is not good. The lighting is not good. I have much improved my method for making beef stew. So we have better lighting, better sound, and an improved method. That video was a very, very popular video. And so I hope it will be a good addition to our newer videos, and especially for those of you that are new to our channel. And we want to welcome you. We're so thrilled that we're getting more and more people who are subscribing to our channel. It just enhances our community so very much, and we think we just have a fantastic community. We help each other, and there is kindness here, which we deeply appreciate. So doing beef stew is one of the easiest things that you can do after you get the vegetables prepared. It took me about an hour to prepare the vegetables. 12 cups of diced potatoes, and I have these in cold water to prevent them from turning brown. 8 cups of carrots, 3 cups each of onions and celery, both in this bowl. I am using a recipe from Bernardin. Now, Bernardin is related to Ball, the Ball Blue Book Company. They are up in Canada, and they also do tested recipes. I will be putting the link to this recipe at the end of the description of the video so that you can go right to the video and do it yourself. Now, one of the things, and this is, I have 4 pounds of stew meat here, and Jim was able to find a good buy on stew meat. And I so appreciate not having to cut up and debone and defat the meat myself. Although some of the pieces were just a little bit large and I did have to cut them, but no big deal. I'm still getting over crying from the onions. I wish I could figure out a way that I didn't cry every single time, but the onion, whatever it is, gets into my eyes every single time. And I've tried everything that I can read on the internet. The thing that's worked best for me is to put on my swim goggles. And that has worked pretty well, but I lost them a long time ago. So I just dab at my eyes and proceed. I'm doing a couple of things that vary just a little bit from this recipe. The vegetables are all of the same. Potatoes, carrots, onions, and celery. Now, could you adjust the vegetables a little bit? Yes, you can. You can adjust the amounts if you wish. You can also add additional vegetables, provided the overall number of cups of vegetables stays the same, and that the vegetables that you may want to add are those that the USDA already has recipes for canning individually. Like you can can potatoes all in a single jar. You can can carrots in a single jar. You can even do onions. Celery is an ingredient that is not often used, but you could adjust the celery as well. And it is in some tested recipes. It is not canned individually with the USDA, so just be cautious. Now, in prepping these vegetables, I went through a very safe procedure. I scrubbed, these 2 are root vegetables. Well, and also the onions are sort of root vegetables. I scrubbed the outside skins with a brush under running water, and then I peeled them, and then I washed them again. So wash, peel, wash is what is recommended, and especially in these days when we are trying to prevent listeria and other things from getting into our food. And then when we process it, the heat will also kill anything, including botulism spores if there happen to be any. We don't ever want to can any root vegetables with skins on. We always wash and get rid of those skins because that is where some of the botulism spores could hide. So here's our process today. With my 4 pounds of meat, I'm going to brown it in here, lift it out and put it back here as I brown it in small batches. At that point in time when the meat is browned, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and get started on that right now, turning this on and putting a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. Once we get all of the meat browned, then I will bring you back and take you to the next step there. So the one adjustment that I am going to do is, this recipe calls for us to use water as the liquid. I am going to use broth, beef broth instead. That changes perfectly fine if you wish to do the same thing. And I'm going to use bouillon, beef bouillon cubes for my beef broth. The other thing that I'm going to do is that it calls for a teaspoon of thyme. I am using 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning instead of the thyme. We just prefer that seasoning. The Utah State Extension Office says that it is okay for us to add to recipes an additional teaspoon of dried herbs or spices if we wish to do so. And I wish to do so on this. I want that Italian seasoning instead of just the thyme. So I'm going to go ahead now and get started browning the meat, and we will bring you back soon. The meat is all browned. I'm putting these first couple of batches back in the pot. And I'm going to capture the juices here that are on the cutting board. Okay. What we do next is add all of these vegetables in. They are not going to fit in this pan. I can tell you already. We're up to here with the meat, and we still have all of these. I'm going to change pots. Well, we are back, and Jim helped me move the meat into this pot. He did all the heavy lifting. So now we're ready to go. I've got the water boiling on the stove. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so here we go with the potatoes. And I drained the water that they were soaking in. We don't want that soaking water in there. And here come the carrots. And the onions and celery. I have 4 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. And I have right here the bouillon mixed up for 8 cups of liquid. So we're probably going to add more than that, but this is going to be enough for us today. Okay, now, this is going to be more than 7 quarts. I followed the recipe exactly, the amounts of the recipe exactly. So the next thing that we're to do, and I didn't get down to the meat yet, is to pour boiling water up to the top of the vegetables.
You need more.
I do need more, so I will be getting some more going. We moved over here to the stove top. It was just too tall for me to have to deal with and for Jim to have to photograph up on a ladder. He's still up on a ladder. He makes me nervous. But this is what it looks like. We have the rest of the water in, covering the veggies. All we have to do is bring this to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, that means everything is heated through, then we can put it in the jars. And I know we're going to have more than 7 quarts, but we'll see. So we'll bring you back when we're ready to fill the jars. Just a moment ago, this was at a rolling boil. We took it off the heat, turned the heat off, and Jim brought it over here. And we are now ready to jar this up. So let's do it. So I'm putting the solids and the liquid in at the same time. We need to leave 1-inch headspace. And this one needs a little bit more liquid. We need to bring it up to a 1-inch headspace. Probably this potato needs to go out of there.
The other one too. Oh, that's good.
All right, and then I'm going to release any air bubbles that we may have. Wipe the rim with a paper towel with vinegar on it because we have meat in here, which means we could have oil. Then lid, finger tight ring, and over here, ready to go into the canner. All right, one more. More liquid. Okay, and checking for airspace. Wiping the rims. Lid, ring, finger tight. And aren't they pretty? Right over here. We will come back when we're ready to go out to the canner. We have 7 quarts ready to go out into my stovetop Presto outside in our canning center out there. I have this much left. This is probably about 3 quarts, I'm guessing. So I have 3 quarts ready to go over here, clean and ready. We're going to go out and get these going. Then I'm going to come back and get my Nesco electric canner out, and we will put anything that remains in that canner. So I'll meet you outside and we'll get these going. The water is simmering. We always put about 2.5 inches of water in the bottom of the canner as per the instructions. So Jim is here giving you a view of inside the canner, and you can see that the water is, a little bit more than half up the side of the jars. So we're going to go ahead and put the lid on. We want to build steam on the inside so the steam will replace all of the air. We know that that happens when steam starts issuing out of this vent in a really steady stream. We will time that for 10 minutes. It's called venting. And once the venting is done, then we will put the weight over the vent so the pressure can build inside up to 13. That's what a dial canner is supposed to for the USDA and Bernardin requirements that at our elevation. And then these are quarts. We will process them for 90 minutes between 13 and 15 pounds per square inch PSI. Then we will let the canner cool completely before we open it up, and we will bring you back when we are taking them out of the canner. Meanwhile, we're going to go back inside and get the others started in the Nesco. Well, empty pot. And we have 3 quarts in the Nesco, and here is a pint. So we have 7 out there, 10.5. So where's my lid? I just washed. So we will be doing 3 quarts and 1 pint in this batch, and we will need to do it at the recommended time, 4 quarts. So that's exactly what we are going to do. So to start our Nesco, we select high, and then we're going to do 90 minutes. Whoop.
Make up your mind.
There we go. 90 minutes. And ready to start. I am raising the pressure regulator to the high position. So when it gets to the venting stage, it will go ahead and vent and release the steam and replace the air inside with steam. Then this also has a 10-minute time for venting, after which I will drop this down to hold the pressure in, and it will heat up until it reaches the 15 psi. The green is 15. It has a black one that is 10 psi, but at our elevation we use the green one for 15, and it will process for 90 minutes and then do a cool down. So we will be back when everything is ready to take out of the 2 canners. The processing time ended just almost exactly an hour ago, an hour and 5 minutes ago. So this has been sitting out here, and it's 90 degrees out here. So it took a little longer to cool down than it usually does, but it's completely down to 0. And I'm just going to double check. Yes, the pressure is completely gone. So we're going to now open this. It's been sitting like this for about 5 minutes. So let's see what we've got. Oh my goodness, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Tiny bit of siphoning, not very much. There's a little bit of an oily film on the water in the canner. All right, let's get these in the house. So these are out as well, and you can see that these are just super boiling. So we had a little tiny bit of siphoning as soon as we opened we let it sit for a good 5 minutes before we opened it, but once we opened it, we had some straight out siphoning occur, just a little bit, not bad. And then here is our little pint. But what a lovely, lovely outcome we have. We have 10 quarts plus a pint of this stew. It smelled delicious, absolutely delicious, and I'm sure it will just be wonderful. What I do when I get ready to open a quart of this stew is that I will drain the liquid into a separate container and put the solids in the pan. And then in the container where I have the liquid, it's usually a measuring cup, I will add a little bit of flour and stir that flour up to make a thickening agent, and then pour it into the pan and heat everything up so that the liquid becomes a beautiful smooth gravy to go right with the stew. So these will be, oh, there went one, good. These will be such a wonderful addition to our fall stores getting ready for winter. We do still have a few more from this past year, quarts out there, but we love beef stew on a cold night. So we're gonna now just leave these alone and let them completely cool, and then we'll wash the jars and get them, there's another one, get them out into our food storage. So we hope that you try this. It's a very easy recipe, but just know if you follow the recipe with exactly the number of cups of the vegetables and with 4 pounds of meat, you're going to get more than the 7 quarts that it says that you will get. So we got 10.5 quarts. So that's fun. So thank you so much for being with us. We hope you try this, and with you, I hope that we are all stocking up and getting ready for winter so that we can have ready-to-eat food on our shelves in case anything should happen that would be difficult for us to do much cooking for a while. So thank you so much, and we will see you very soon for more videos.